Alright, we're going to be taking a look at Payload Inari. I'm just going to be doing some nitpicks and just pointing out things because when you're making a map there's a lot of stuff that goes into everything, and there's a lot of stuff that you can miss. So if I point something out, it's just because it stuck out to me or I felt like it should be pointed out, and it is up to you whether or not you want to do anything about that, because maybe you already know about it, maybe you don't. And I'm also going to be pointing out anything I think you could do to make things cooler. The first of all is which I noticed these pipes here. Maybe could use some more in here, because I mean this is you can get away with a lot more detail in this room because it's kind of closed off, and also maybe some pipes around this door, because that's where people are going to be looking the most. So like sort of try and focus detail around here. Maybe a pipe that runs down here and kind of snakes around the resupply. Also, I noticed there's this thing which is, I think it's supposed to be holding time cards, but there's no actual punching machine for them. So it would be kind of that's an odd placement for it. I really like this detail area down here. I did notice though that maybe these beams could be shaped like beams rather than just like a flat texture on them. That's just something to think about. These are solid, not that important. These are both the same color. I really like this detail up here, by the way, and the fact that you put stuff up the ceiling, because I think a lot of people forget to do that. And also the fact that you've got all the lights wired up is pretty cool too. Anything else in spawn? Oh yeah. Excuse me. The lighting on this is really weird. And also, God dang it. The lighting on the ceiling here is really dark. You can get caught here. I would clip it off. If you did clip it off, people wouldn't be able to go through here anymore, but I don't think people are going to be doing that. And if that bothers you, then you can just put like another thing here that makes it obvious you can't walk through there. Fences, long fences like this, I think should generally have something like some piece of concrete or wood that sort of connects them to the ground, because actually building the fence right to the ground wouldn't be very secure, because the dirt's loose, and that's why things are allowed to sink into the ground like this. So building a security fence right down into the dirt would be a bad decision. You would fire that contractor. If you look at gravel pit is pretty good about that. It's got bases along the bottom. Some of them don't, but those are generally shorter pieces of security fence. This model right here, I know you didn't make it, but maybe make that not solid, because that is a little awkward to walk around. And also, this top is really shiny. I just noticed that. Anything else? I really like this here. This is a cool prop. Good work. These windows here, like, it's really low to the ground, and it feels like you should just be able to walk right out, but you can't. You have to jump out. I don't know if that's what you intended, because like if someone's walking backward, you might not want them to go out the window. But I don't know. It might be a good idea to put like a beam at the bottom, or just player clip it. I noticed this rock wasn't solid. Someone could hide stickies in there. That's probably not a big issue. Again, with the windows here. Okay, I'm going to push the cart along so I can open up the gates further down. Oh, I just noticed these dust motes. I noticed the dust motes are really dense around the lights. I would maybe make them a little bit thicker, but then make less of them, because right now it almost looks like it's just dust on my laptop screen. I also really like how the pipe here goes into the interior over there. That's a nice touch. The ground in here, I want to point this out, the ground kind of sinks in, and I don't know, it just kind of looks odd, especially from this perspective. Like it it feels like it should be sort of clumped up against the corner. Because generally, dirt would collect in corners rather than be dispersed from it. Because that's just how corners work. Oh, I wanted to talk about the ground. You use this concrete texture a lot. I think that's concrete 3, but it's used there, it's used here, it is used pretty much everywhere. And one thing I noticed with a lot of the older maps, I know you're trying to emulate sort of the granary theme here, look up textures called ground. There's a lot of good textures that get kind of overlooked because they look like mostly just solid colors, and it feels weird using them because they don't necessarily look like anything, but if you use them properly, they can look really nice. And there's one that I used a lot in my own map buyer. I think it's ground 8, and it looks like concrete. I think they use it a lot in 2 Fort. I'm not entirely sure. I found it from somewhere in a map though, and I was like, I was really surprised that I'd never used the texture before because it's really useful. I want to talk about the rails sinking into the ground like this. It looks okay. Oh, that doesn't matter. But the fact that they sink into the ground, it looks okay in some spots, but in other spots, like right here, where it like completely sinks in, or there's a few other areas, like right here especially, it seems a little bit excessive. So I would just like mess around with the displacements a little bit, like set the value to like 0.5 and just nudge stuff up and down until it looks a little bit better. Oh, this is a rock I want to talk about. You can get stuck on this. I'm trying to walk over it. I can't. Just make that non-solid. I also noticed that the fade distances on these, I don't know if this even has a fade, but I think you should work on the fade distances a little bit. I noticed those milk jugs back there also. I wanted to talk about, this is really blank. I don't necessarily know what you could do about that. Maybe like a big stain overlay, maybe like write red across it, maybe put like a sign sort of in that little crevice area. Also, I want to talk about this room here. I really like the geometry with how these intersect. Oh, okay. That's something. The geometry of these intersecting with the room is really cool. Like it's really cool. I think, I don't know, I feel like it could stick out more, maybe use a different texture on this metal, or like another thing that you could do is like run some wood sort of across the bottom here, to make it look a little bit more like it's built into the room or something. I don't know. I also noticed you like to lean pallets up against the walls, which is okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with leaning up pallets against the walls. Oh, okay, so yeah, you did build this fence into the ground, which is nice. You just need to do that more often, or I think you should. But there's a lot of other props that you can lay up against walls, and you do use them, but I think you should use them more often. I just noticed the pallets a lot. That's a really stupid thing to point out, I think, but I don't know, I noticed it. These bags, by the way, are a cool prop. For some reason, I didn't even know they existed. I don't think they're used that often in Granary, surprisingly, considering it is what the map is named after. Yeah. Oh, I noticed there's a yellow glow here. I don't know what that's about. It might be the sun leaking through these somehow. I don't know. Maybe the lighting flickered on that or something. That's just level of detail stuff. This fence, yeah, build it into the ground, like I said before. Obviously not at the gate, because that wouldn't make sense. But look at the fence around Spire and Badlands. That fence is really well done. Oh, I was talking about building stuff into the ground at the rails. The cart rumbles a lot. around here, and that's because the cart's actually intersecting with the ground, so tweak that. Yes, I don't need to talk about that. This isn't solid. I went into third person earlier and I checked, and if I wasn't wearing a hat, I don't think you can see me, and so that's going to get abused. Like, I guarantee you, when someone sees this video and then goes to play a playtest, they're going to be like, "Oh, I want to be a real big jerk and abuse this right now because I can," because that's the mentality of half of our testers. Anyways, another thing is I want to be able to go through here, but I can't. So either make it so I can, or block it off. Tractor tires, metal sheets, more things you can lay up against walls. Metal sheets look really good, especially those red ones. They use them a lot on Upward, I think, and it looks really nice. You use that a lot on Kaku or whatever that thing. Which is nice, but you can use it in a non-Upward themed map. Also, I really like this sign. Again, the fence. I need to stop pointing that out. This tank here. I want to go through here. Like, it seems like it's almost wide enough for me to do that, but I can't. So maybe like push it up against the wall a little bit closer. Can I jump on top of this? Yeah, you can. Yeah, so you can't get back here. Whatever. Oh, I really like the wood down here. Like this is really cool. I really like this, and especially the two planks here for the health. I would maybe use that more often because it looks really cool, and it's like hardly any optimization cost to put that in to make it look that much better. I noticed a lot in the older maps, especially in Gravel Pit A, especially I was looking at earlier. They do a lot with like the fractured wood, where it'll just be like a normal wood wall, but with holes in it. They do that a lot in Gravel Pit, and it really goes a long way because like it doesn't really look that much more detailed. Oh, that's I can get stuck on that. But it looks really good. Little details like that you don't quite know. Just look at Gravel Pit A. It's cool. I noticed these in rooms like this, where the lights are closer to the ground. I'm assuming you're keeping sort of a uniform brightness for most of your lights and not necessarily tweaking them that much. But in sort of lower ceiling areas like this, because they're at the same brightness as areas with tall ceilings, the room becomes a lot brighter, which isn't necessarily what you want. So I just maybe tweaked the lighting there. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but you use white lights a lot for the interior. I would maybe use more yellow, because that's like the color of most lights. Sort of, well, not most lights, but lights of different varieties. I don't know the proper terms for different kinds of lights. Shut up, fan. Okay, I have not played the map a whole lot. I'll just go ahead and say that straight up. But this looks like it's a flank. Like it's not really a main route for people to go down, but it's really bright for something that's supposed to be a flank. So, especially if you look at the drop-down route in Granary, it's really dark and sort of cramped and claustrophobic, and it has a really nice feeling to it. But just the fact that it's darker sort of signifies to people that it is a flank and that it's not really a main route. So if you want to make this more of a flanky route, then I would tone down the lighting, because like you can see the ceiling really well. And also you can make it sort of like if you made it like a dark yellow, the fact that it's yellow might also sort of signify to people that it's not an important area to go, because it looks more old and run down, not properly maintained or whatever. And maybe that's maybe I'm just talking shit. The cart rumbles on this ramp, so I just move the start and end point of this ramp out a little bit from the ramp itself, so that the cart won't intersect with the ground. I noticed that a lot when I was making some payload maps, is that you have to sort of disconnect it from what you... It's not where you expect it should be, because trigonometry. For this area down here, I would look at Gorge Red Spawn, because they did it really well. Like, just... I don't know what I'm saying, just look at Gorge. Because it's all this, like, these are all the same props that they use in that same area, and they made it look really nice. So if you look at the map for inspiration, maybe you could make that look really nice. I don't know. And it looks okay. I don't know, I guess. Maybe more pipes. Pipes are cool. Oh my gosh. This area is really cool. I really like the pipes. Like you did a really good job with the pipes here, especially because they all run that way, and so it creates sort of a one direction with the composition or whatever. Not the band. Is there anything else I want to point out? Oh yeah, the fence. Well, fence looks okay here. I think maybe, and you might want to build it into something and then like not put it by the, like I was saying earlier with the ground. But I mean, it is, you can tell that it's like securely put into the ground because it has something that it's built into. I don't know what I'm saying. Oh, I did want to talk about this area over here because like I guarantee someone's going to come over here and like try and figure out what the point of this area is when there is no point. Okay, that's an issue. And like, I don't know if there's anything you really can do about it. I don't know what to say. Oh, also the equipping here. I don't think there's anything. Oh, there was another thing. There was another thing. This here. So like when you're on red and coming this way, this fence looks kind of strange to me somehow. Like when I'm coming this way, like, and I'm not paying attention to the left side of the screen, like if I'm just looking at the route straight ahead of me in the area to the right, which is where I should be looking, like I can kind of, like my peripheral vision tells me that there's a passageway over here, and I think it's because of the geometry gap that it, crap, what the hell is a gap? There's like a gap in the geometry right here, which is also where the shadow hits, and as a result, it seems like there's a distinct bright area here and then a dark area here, and you don't really see the transition of the shadow, and as a result, this doesn't really look like it's part of the same fence as this over here. And so you could just solve that by making this more of a solid fence rather than like a whole bunch of planks that are really scattered from one another. Again, you can look at like Gravel Pit A, and like they do a good job of sort of keeping the gaps less noticeable. It doesn't draw attention because the gaps between the planks are generally pretty small, and there's not really as many of them. Also, 2 Fort in I think blue. It's a blue area underneath spawn, like between the yard and the main entrance. There's like a wooden fence that looks pretty nice too, and it's ramshackle like that, but because I think it might have to do with the fact that there's a dark area behind the fence, it doesn't really draw attention. And so you get that nice detail without the distracting consequences, which is nice. And also what you should be striving for. That's really bright. And that's the end. I don't think I had anything else to say. If I did, I will write it out. That's the end of this video.